POV, you, your friends, and a ton of strangers get an AI bro kicked out of Artist Alley. Vendor removed for selling AI images. Hashtag art by humans. Yo, they should have put their Instagram handle. That would be salt on the wound, but still, that at least people would know. Like, hey, hey, hey. They'd be like that walk with Cersei, in Game of Thrones, where they had her walking through the street naked. They were like, shame, shame. Okay, what's up? We're back with the second video. Well, the first video that he was actually referencing, and we're gonna watch the original one. Yeah, for DragonCon AI artist removed by police. Let's watch.
Is a bit more complicated than you might think. The DragonCon AI situation is a bit more complicated than you might think. You might have seen videos of this guy getting escorted by police.
Hey, before we get into this, hold on.
Police out of the DragonCon Pop Arts
I'll wait till the
Alley.
end.
But quote-unquote Disney artist James C. Mulligan also is receiving a lot of backlash for some of his questionable artwork that was displayed at the show. Among
Six fingers?
other things.
No way.
For some
She
of
has
his
6 fingers?
questionable artwork that was displayed at the show.
Did she really? Okay, then there's no way. If she had 6 fingers, no way bro drew her with 6 fingers. If she really had, I can't even see the full picture. Hold on, let me see if it's on Google or something. Who is that princess? That Disney princess? Is that Elsa? That's not Elsa. That's like the one from Tangled, isn't it? Who's the one from Tangled? James C. Mulligan. AI Tangled. Let's see if anything comes up. Was that from Tangled? Tangled art? Art? I'm not seeing the photo. Check on Instagram real quick. I'll look real quick. I'll just look really quickly. Let's see if they actually show anything. No, not worried about that. It's just this. Oh, let's see. Maybe it's on his page. It's not, right? Pretty sure it's not going to be on his page, right? Ah, okay. Alright, that's okay, that's okay. I'm not worried. But just know, if she had 6 fingers, he definitely did that with AI. There's no doubt in my mind. Because why, for any reason, would he draw her with 6 fingers, for real?
Also is receiving a lot of backlash for some of his questionable artwork that was displayed at the show, among other things. Remember that everything in this video is publicly available information, but for legal reasons, we will say that this is all allegedly. That being said, do not message or send hate to anybody involved in this story. I typically try to avoid covering controversies like this on this channel.
If she had 6 fingers, ain't nothing alleged about
I find
that.
it a bit
But
hard to
allegedly.
ignore. I was actually at DragonCon during all of this, doing a review of the event, but that video will have to come later, as this situation kind of has overshadowed everything else. DragonCon is typically one of my favorite events of the year. However, they definitely had an AI issue this year, as there was multiple vendors trying to get away with selling AI material and passing it off as genuine artwork. Regardless of how you feel about generative AI, it is simply against the terms and service of a lot of these art events, and for good reason. Collectors and general attendees go to these events thinking that the halls are vetted and that the work is done by professional artists. And this often will give an increased value of the thing you are purchasing. This will become even more important when we talk about James, who didn't end up getting removed from the hall, but we're going to focus on this bozo for the moment. Now for context, DragonCon has 3 different halls where you can buy different types of merchandise. The art show, which caters more to traditional art, which is where my booth was at. Then there is the normal exhibitor vendor hall, which is like official was at. Then there is the normal exhibitor vendor hall, which is like official merchandise and stuff like that. More of the non-artist area. And then there is the Pop Artist Alley, which is more of a traditional artist alley setup, which caters to like comic books and pop art, where this situation takes place. DragonCon is a very large event that takes place over 4 days on Labor Day weekend every year, from Friday to Monday. I'm going to break down the timeline of
I
events
saw
because
that
I think
booth.
it's important for the
I thought those were
context
cute.
here,
The
but there's a
little
lot of conflicting information going
Pokemon pens.
around.
Yeah, the
And
Mimikyu.
although I was at the event, I was not in the room that this took place the entire time. From the staff and artists that I talked to, including my own personal experience at the event, I'm not sure when attendees and artists started noticing that something wasn't quite on the up and up with this booth, but from what I was told by
When did
staff,
this video
they were
come out?
notified on Saturday evening towards
It's 2
the
weeks
end
ago.
of the day, right before the hall was about to close,
Makes sense,
and
'cause that's when,
confronted
like,
those in
DragonCon
question.
ended.
Now, if you look at the floor plan for the Pop Artist
I did some
Alley,
videos
the artist that is listed goes by the
on
name
my Instagram. I
Oriana.
put some
Now,
videos up.
looking at this booth,
No, I had
Oriana
to.
is nowhere to be found. As this was all taking place, people were able to notice on their story in their Instagram that they were in Europe and not present at the event. They did, however, private their account after this event. Not physically being present at the event goes against
Gallery
DragonCon's
owner?
terms and service as an artist. When staff and artists confronted those running the booth about this and questioned them about these very mid-journey looking images, the man running the table said that he was Oriana's boyfriend and that half the work was his, and that's why the styles
Honestly,
were different. And when pressed
if you
further,
saw the
he
other video, hold on, I want to see if they say it, but
said it was actually a gallery collective, that Oriana's father and mother had also been artists, and that's why every piece had no cohesiveness. And Oriana's Instagram does say that she's a gallery owner. When looking at her website, you can find some of these obvious AI images alongside actual original work. When artists at the event did a little bit more digging, they were able to find the man running the booth's personal Instagram alongside multiple gallery Instagrams and websites. It appeared that they had been doing this bait and switch for quite a while to avoid controversy, all of which filled with images that, when put through an AI detector, came back in the 90th percentile of likelihood. However, when pressed about their inspiration, they got very defensive and combative with attendees.
100%.
At the end of the day, people have eyes and could clearly tell that the images at this booth were generated through some type of AI application, which again is against DragonCon's terms of service. When the staff confronted the people at Oriana's booth, they denied it and produced a quote-unquote process video. A very questionable process video. A process video with lots of jump cuts that doesn't actually show any processes, just still images. You just go from this to this. That's how art is made, clearly. One that non-artists might not catch right away, but one that anybody who has actually drawn anything would understand that this doesn't prove anything, considering some AI models.
Wait. Generative AI imitating a human drawing workflow video. Here's an idea. Instead of playing pretend, why not just do all that for real? You know why not? Because it's going to take too much time and effort and hard work. And nobody wants to do that nowadays, apparently. Which, you know, sometimes I don't blame people, but still, if you're going to enter something like and pass it off as your own, granted, I'm doing a reaction channel, so that's kind of like AI art in a way, because like I'm reacting to people's videos, but I'm putting my input into it. So I guess that's like the AI art of YouTube, right? Now that I think about it. But I'm not being hypocritical and saying like, oh, this is my video, I produced this content. No, that's not what I'm saying. Every single one of my videos has the same thing. It says in the description, my reaction to this video by this artist. Here's the original link. Never passing it off as my own. And that's a key distinction.
Have been designed to mimic process videos, but they're pretty nonsensical, like this one. If my work was ever in question, I wouldn't be giving you a video with jump cuts to try to prove my innocence. As AI has not been an issue in years past at DragonCon, I think the staff were learning in real time how to handle a situation like this. I think it took some time for them to come to the conclusion that this video was fake and that these artists were in fact not legitimate. The staff took the artists' complaints very seriously, but I think they wanted absolute proof before removing somebody from the hall, which makes absolute sense, as real artists have been accused of AI work before, which is devastating.
If you're so good, you get accused of using AI, that's a W
to remove these people from the hall. On
Either
Sunday,
that,
we
or
were
it
informed that
just
they
looks
were
off.
receiving a lifetime ban,
I don't
and
know what
then
to say
first
about
thing
that.
Monday morning, they were removed by either police or security
Lifetime ban
and forced
is
to leave
lit,
the
bro.
hall. However, it doesn't fix the real damage that has been done, as a real artist could have been in that spot.
What did that
However,
say?
it doesn't fix the real damage that has been
POV, you, your friends, and a ton of strangers get an AI bro kicked out of Artist Alley. Vendor removed for selling AI images. Hashtag art by humans. Yo, they should have put their Instagram handle. That would be salt on the wound, but still, that at least people would know. Like, hey, hey, hey. There'd be like that walk with Cersei, in Game of Thrones, where they had her walking through the street naked. They were like, shame, shame.
Done as a real artist could have been
Crazy,
in that
man.
spot. I'm also sure that they
Crazy.
made a lot of money and misled a lot of buyers. Buying something under false pretenses and being misled that something is genuine when it is plagiarized AI
I'm only
slop
saying that
sounds
because they
like
willingly
fraud to
scam
me,
people.
allegedly, in my opinion. So
If
if
they
you were
were
one of these
just
people who
trying
were
to genuinely be an AI artist and they told people they were doing it, it'd be different, right? I would not be this hard on them. But the fact that they knew what they were doing, lied about it, and still tried to scam people, nah, get out of here.
tricked and scammed by these people, I encourage you to call your bank and figure out your options. Especially considering when people confronted Oriana in the DMs, she was bragging about how much money she had scammed out of people from DragonCon. Would have loved.
Yeah, see, that's what I was gonna say earlier. Like, by the way she's reacting. Look, she said I'd share a screenshot of my sales this weekend, but don't have to show it. Give any explanations to you losers. You guys are sore because you don't sell shit and will forever be broke. Have fun being a broke bee. So like, that's how you know that like somebody just doesn't have good intentions when they react like that and you caught them in the act. That's how you know that they're just like, there would have been some redemption if she was like kind of like, remorseful about it, or she was kind of humble about it. But no, she pulled up. That's how you know she's a scammer, because she reacted like that. They always do. They always do. They're always like super defensive, super unprofessional, super like just icky, man.
Family business. Staff also informed us that the reason Oriana was able to jury into the show is that she showed original real artwork in her portfolio. Work that was completely different from what they had at their booth. So even if it was some weird situation, work into the show is that she showed
Wait.
original real artwork in her portfolio.
So she had real art that was done? And then like, wow. Wow.
Work that was completely different.
Don't make fake Star Wars stuff. Come on, man. Don't make fake Star Wars stuff and then like pull up with the AI stuff, bro.
From what they had at their booth. So even
Eternity in an Hour, bro. Majora's Mask.
even if it was some weird.
I kind of like these. These have character. They're not bad at all. You should have just sold these. If these are really how you work, you should have just sold these. Because these still have character. They might not be as picture perfect, not even picture perfect as AI stuff, because AI stuff isn't even that good looking. These, if you look at any of the detail, it looks like trash. Like, but stuff like this has character, because like somebody's like, they want to see your style.
Situation where a different artist showed up and was selling different work, they misrepresented themselves in the application process, regardless of AI or not. Which at most
that's like the equivalent of lying on your resume, but for artists at conventions. That's
Artist
so
Alley's
crazy.
is grounds alone for removal. Obviously, every venue has its own terms of service that vary, but this is a pretty common clause. I think this type of situation, unfortunately, is going to grow, and showrunners and conventions need to be aware of this and be prepared on how to handle it when it arises. We can already see certain people trying to take advantage of the system quite aggressively. Obviously, checking portfolios for a juried show is pretty standard, but doing a walk around at the beginning of the show to make sure everybody is
They
on
call
the
him
up
loser.
and up
They said
is
Rip
going to keep
Bozo. They said pack watch. That's crazy. Real artists. The story. Real artists complains. Art proved to be AI and he was asked to leave. He said no, so the police were called to watch him while he packed his AI crap up. F him and F AI slop. Oof.
more important than ever. And this leads us into the James C. Mulligan issue, who for all intensive purposes looks
James.
like a well-established artist on the surface, and perhaps
On
at
the
one point
surface.
was, but it's clear they're willing
Yeah,
to make
because he
some
said
very
he worked in the previous video. He said he worked for Disney, doing Lorcana stuff since like 2014, right? So I would have to imagine that at some point he was a credible artist, but due to the influx of using AI and stuff, he decided to use that in his art as well. So
very sketchy decisions
that.
to pull profits. Looking at some of James' work, you will
Granted, his is way different. His is like from what he's about to say, he uses like background imagery, so it's not as bad, but it's still like you're misleading people if you're not going to tell them, you know.
See that the base of his pieces looks legitimate, but then the rest of it is clearly fed through an AI generator to give it its finishing touches. And James has been in this space for a really long time, and I think that's one of the reasons he's been getting away with it so long, is that he has official Disney work out through Lorcana. It looks to me he likes to avoid putting in any real work to his backgrounds. So on the surface level, it's not as clear cut to a showrunner to just kick out somebody like James. But I would argue that he's even more insidious than, say, Oriana or some of these other AI bros that are just generating something right out of Midjourney. He could also be generating the bones of these pieces and painting over that and then generating again. We really don't know. But looking at his work, there's clearly AI usage, allegedly.
Where's the 6 fingers, though?
For those who have eyes. And it was clear at DragonCon this weekend by any...
Does she have 6 fingers? Let me look at this. Can we do it? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That does look like 6 fingers. I won't lie. That does look like 6 fingers. I don't know. I don't know, man. That fingernail is looking a little weird too. That thumbnail. Nah, buddy, you might be packed up. Yeah, you might be cooked, buddy. You might be cooked.
Anybody who passed their booth that...
Ooh, yeah, you might be cooked, buddy. Bro.
His work is getting more aggressive into the AI usage. Or at least...
I could kind of tell this one's AI just because of the structure. I feel like that, like, little spiral in the middle right here, this little, like, hole right here, I feel like that's very AI coded, because like if he was gonna draw this, I feel like he would have probably actually, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe this is like a lion fish or something like that, and they're trying to show like the curl of the tail. Maybe that's just me yapping, but yeah, I don't know. The 6 fingers junk was definitely out of pocket.
It's getting more blatant. He also removed over half of the images on his gallery wall after people in the DragonCon Pop Artist Alley
if you didn't see the other video I made on that, I talked about it. I did see his booth because I saw that, and he stayed there. I saw when he was there too. I got waved at him.
By anybody who passed their booth, that
I wasn't
his
really
work
feeling
is
his
getting
stuff,
more aggressive into the AI usage,
or
at least it's getting more blatant. He also removed over half of the images
very clearly on his produced, and there wasn't a lot of original work too. Like I wanted like. Not that I don't like IP work, but I have like IP pieces and stuff like that, and in more recent times, because I always, like I said, I always get one piece that really resonates with me at the time, and I feel like a lot of the IP pieces, they're really just like, okay, you showcase the artist's style, and they're like transformative content with the IP, but I really feel drawn more in recent times to a lot of like original work, as you can see, like with this one right here, like original, like narrative based work. This was actually a part of like a 3-piece set. That one right there, this one was, it was called Visionary. There's like a couple, and there's like 3 versions of it. There's like this one, and then another one where it's like a cracked mirror almost. It was kind of like that, but like way more. It was like, it was very cool. It was very cool. But I say this to say that, yeah, I wasn't really feeling his stuff in particular. This guy at the booth, James, what's his name? James Mulligan.
Gallery wall after people in the DragonCon Pop Artist Alley started noticing something didn't feel right. A week before DragonCon at a different event
crazy how
in New
people
York,
clock
Twitter
it,
user TuneImage
because I definitely clocked it,
hey,
but I didn't say anything. I was just kind of like, yeah, not for me. Like, I kind of liked some of it. Like I said, I like this picture right here, this one. But again, it was too like produced for my taste. Like, it felt too produced, too corporate, too like perfect in a way, even though it was imperfect because it was with AI for some of it. But yeah, I just wasn't feeling it.
So this guy at Anime NYC just blatantly lied to me about not using Gen AI in his work, then scammed my mom off of several $100s in prints. And then we see that on a piece that we know has aspects of generative AI within it. In the comments, Imu said that she questioned James at the event about his AI usage. He ended up pulling out his tablet, and she said that you could see that the character was drawn within Procreate, but that the background was copy-pasted in. The part that clearly has the AI tells, with some of the books melding together unnaturally. Artist RJ Palmer, who was also at the Pop Artist Alley, said, "This guy is at DragonCon selling AI images. Personally saw him making a $500 plus sale. He isn't just scamming, he is thriving while scamming. Truly vile work." And again, this leads back into the misrepresentation and misleading collectors and general attendees on what you're selling. Not only that, hiding behind his Disney credentials. But let's talk about that a bit closer. I have worked for Disney Lorcana. I've done about 14, 15 cards now, and I've heard rumors about this guy for quite a while. Just personally.
Whoa,
but they were rumors, they were nothing
Inkwell?
that ever was super public. Obviously, his work has always kind of looked a little sus, but Disney worked with him after all.
Hey, we gotta play,
it
man.
turns
I got
out
my
that that's
Lorcana
not
cards right
the
in the
whole
back,
story.
right here.
Phi Green, an employee at Disney
Hold up.
Lorcana, said, "I actually work for the company that makes Disney
Hold up. Oh, he's just talking about that. I'm right here, bro. I'm not playing. They're right here. Pull up. Anybody else who plays Lorcana in the chat, let me know in the comments, bro. Y'all play Lorcana? It's so fun.
Lorcana. I will be bringing this up with my creative directors. We have a hard policy of no AI art in our games, and they will be able to assess further. However, it's been very common people jump to these conclusions a lot. They later gave an update, and it looks like his work is indeed AI. Thankfully,
what did he say? Hold on.
With my Lorcana said, "I actually work for the company." That's not the whole story. Phi Green ever was super public. Obviously, his work has always kind of looked a little sus, but Disney worked with him after all. Well, it turns out that that's not the whole story. Phi Green, an employee at Disney Lorcana, said, "I actually work for the company that makes Disney Lorcana. I will be bringing this up with my creative directors. We have a hard policy of no AI art in our games, and they will be able to assess further. However, it's been very common people jump to these conclusions a lot." They later gave an update, and it looks like his work is indeed AI. Thankfully, he hasn't worked with us on many sets after Disney notified us of the issue. Disney also won't work with him anymore either, and I'm sure this possibly will get legal involved. And this is similar to what I heard almost a year ago, that he was blacklisted from any Disney properties, although he claims to be an art director on his Instagram currently. During all this, James sent a private DM to Imu threatening legal action. And then I heard from a number of other artists who had called him out, sent the same copy-paste response to them as well. Which is crazy, considering we've heard from Disney that these allegations are in fact true. This feels like a weak attempt to get people to remove the post that they made about him. If anybody has grounds for defamation or damages, it is certainly not James. I'd also like to circle back to this image where you clearly see the Disney and Lorcana logo. Now, I'm not on the Disney approval board for promotional materials. However, as a Disney Lorcana artist myself, I send any of the materials and imagery that I use to promote my Disney Lorcana work approved through a pretty stringent process. And they are very strict and very rarely, if ever, allow freelance artists to utilize the Disney.
They're strict over there on Park Planet.
Or Lorcana logo. I have this sign as an example. It is the art I created for this Alice card, an official Lorcana card. But I was not allowed to use the Lorcana logo. So again, this feels like a large misrepresentation. I would think that an art director would know this. Misusing a company's trademark logo is intentionally misleading buyers to think that what you're selling is official. And not only is it not official, it's not even fan art, it's AI slop. So again, a lot of scummy misrepresentation going around to try to make a profit off the Disney IP. Now, my contract with Disney strictly prohibits me from selling fan art or utilizing the IP in any other way. The only thing that I am physically allowed to charge money for is signatures or sketches on the physical cards. Just doing card art isn't lucrative enough to make a living off of, so is a very important way that Disney Lorcana artists managed to make a living. If we look back at Twitter, Kendall Hall, a very prominent Lorcana artist who has had cards at the very launch of the game,
how much do they
replies, This guy is a flat-out thief aside from the AI use. He only has 3 cards illustrated done for Lorcana, but consistently paints over other artists' cards and their names to take credit
Huh?
for them, then sells it for $300 plus. And here,
so he's just lying? How is he? They just really let him out here lying? I guess since he's blacklisted, they just don't care. That's so crazy. Or he just doesn't care since he's blacklisted. That's so crazy. Imagine. How are you drawing over other people's cards, taking credit for them, and then selling them, saying that you're the one that drew it?
here's an example.
That's so crazy too. Look at the picture. Rapunzel, appreciative artist. Yo, that's so ironic. You can't get better than that. Aubrey Archer, I'm sorry, man. He did you dirty. Or she. Or they.
To take credit
That's
for them,
crazy.
then sells it for $300 plus. And here is an example. Furthermore, Kendall posts this image of Mickey Mouse. Nothing says guilty like flat out signing your name over other artists' credits. Wow. This is a big no-no in the TCG space. And is fraught with, again, misrepresentation and sketchy behavior. However, here you can see that he's clearly taken credit for Audrey Archer's work, and then this card of Mickey Mouse. The actual artist for the Mickey is Raquel Villanueva. Luis Huerta, another prominent Lorcana artist, replied saying this guy has been lying for quite a while. He even drew on one of
he was
my
an
cards,
art director of it?
He was the art director of it, which he wasn't. I've also heard rumors that he did this to one of my cards personally, but I never saw it, and he definitely was not my art director or an art director at Disney ever, having worked with the majority of them. There is a Disney Lorcana artist Discord where it looks like the user Prime Optimal seems to be James. Ironically,
wait, that's James? Oh, newest Ariel piece with Ariel.
the profile picture is clearly AI slop, an odd choice for a professional artist. Some of the artists in the Discord noticed this and decided to cross-check it with the Midjourney Discord server, where you can also find the same username and profile picture there. Bad actors like James.
Yo, he's literally in the Midjourney Discord. Yo, that's crazy. Nah, he's cooked. Whatever his legal team is about to come out and say, it doesn't matter. He's so cooked. You can say allegedly all you want, but bro, this does not look good. Why are you...
Don't only hurt their own reputation and career, but the artist community as a whole, including the Disney IP
100%.
and the conventions that they are attending. They're taking up valuable spaces within these convention halls and job opportunities.
Park Planet is not happy about
deserving
that,
and talented artists, on top of creating just a bad product. This entire situation is highly disrespectful to your fellow artists. And although I am not a legal expert, I am pretty sure this is illegal depending on the distribution. I encourage showrunners, keep an eye out for these types of scammers and filter out as needed. The reputation and integrity of your event and your products and your games will benefit greatly. Alongside Oriana and her boyfriend slash
because I know
mother
Disney is
and
mad strict
families.
about that. Because even in the contracts that I had signed with them, there was like, I'm not gonna say like obviously like everything that was in it, but it was a lot. It was a lot to read. Very strict, as you would expect of such a large corporation, obviously. But like, this guy just does not care. He just was a vigilante, just running around stealing people's art, claiming claiming the IP, bro. Like
slash galleries booth
just
that was kicked out of the show. There was also
all,
2 additional booths within the vendors hall, so not the artist area, that was removed for selling AI image content. I did not see these booths. I don't know exactly what they were selling, but I was informed that there was 2 other booths that were instructed to leave.
I saw
so although James was able to skate under the radar for the majority of the pop art show at DragonCon and ultimately did not get kicked out, as I believe the showrunners learned of his tendencies a bit late I want to applaud them for taking a stand and removing the other AI booths from the event, as I know many of the staff were not artists and didn't necessarily have the eyes to recognize this type of misconduct on their own, and we're learning how to deal with this in real time. So again, I'm very happy to see the actions that DragonCon has taken. It is forever one of my favorite events, and I hope that this video will be a resource for other event organizers to look at and to keep in mind.
Live in Atlanta?
And just
Do you
remember
live in Atlanta,
that these bad actors do not represent the greater art community. Aside from a couple AI bros muddying up the artist alley, the show went really well. I originally planned on ending this video here, but last minute I received some DMs that had more interesting information on James. It appears he was putting out NFTs based on different Disney characters. I'm sure Disney would be thrilled to know that their characters are being used in this way. Probably not related to the reason he was blacklisted at all. We also know that James is a big fan of AI, which inherently is a plagiarism tool on its own, and also has no problem taking credit for other artists' art, but also I was sent evidence that he just straight up rips off sketches from other artists, including other Lorcana artists, like Brianna Garcia. Take a look at the dates. These are just a few examples. There are many more, but without making this an hour-long video, I hope examples there are.
And he did it worse. Hold on. He straight up doodle. Wait, she said doodle Loki at Disneyland. Her doodle looks better than his, like, whatever he did. Actually, he might not even have done anything. He might have just run it through a generator. Wow. Yeah, it looks like his arm is like merging with the pizza, man. What is that? Loki, see Chicago Loki. That's so shameful, bro.
Many more, but without making this an hour-long video. I hope this video will serve as some transparency in case you ever pass by James's booth and need to make a more informed decision.
Dang, next con's gonna be awkward if I start seeing some of these people.
Or if you're a showrunner and need to make an informed decision on whether or not to let somebody like this into your event.
That people will already probably be on them by the time I even get in there, because I don't go to the artist alley usually until like the last day. Because I like to do the other con stuff first, and then I'll go to Artist Alley on the last day, just because it's like there's a lot of other stuff, and I know that everybody usually goes during the most populous days, which is understandable. So the lines are always super long. Like, you gotta wait hours to even get in most of the time. So I just wait until everybody's mostly out of the con, and then I just go in, and I can just like freely, somewhat freely, just walk up and just be like, oh, let's browse some art, because I figure like there's, in a lot of cases, they're not really gonna sell out of a lot of stuff in most cases, right? Because they bring plenty usually, and even so, like a lot of the stuff that I do see when I walk in there, it's like the stuff that I end up buying typically isn't like the stuff that's like that everybody's like crowding around and flocking to and stuff like that. So
in the coming weeks, if that's something you're interested in, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one.
Hey, low-key, bro, that was a good video. I appreciate that, man. Good stuff, Inklo. I gotta drop a subscribe too. I'll drop a subscribe. Actually, maybe let me see what your other videos look like too. Let's see. Do I need to like? What other type of content do you make? I'll check it real quick. I'll just check it real quick just to see if I will subscribe or not. You said you're a Lorcana artist, right? You said he was a Lorcana artist.
Independently as a convention artist. I collected data from almost 1,000 artists who were generous enough to share their expenses, their income, and the harsh reality of making a living. I gotta follow you, bro. The growing greed among some showrunners, the skyrocketing competition.
But yeah, okay, that's gonna be it for me. Leave a like down on the video, leave a comment, make sure you go check out Inkwell too, and subscribe to him and me if you guys are feeling the content, and I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one. Let me know what you guys, again, if you didn't see the last one, let me know what you guys think about AI art, if you think it should be allowed in conventions and things like that, in Artist Alley, and in general, whatever your thoughts are. Yeah, that's gonna be it from me. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya later. Bye.